today we are joined by Pat Hayes, who is the director of the Transition Life Consultants here in the Villages. We are so glad that you're here with us. We've had a couple presentations with you, and I take lots of notes because you're very smart and you give us lots of tips. So thank you everyone for joining us, and we're going to sit back and settle in, and Pat is going to tell us how to unleash the power of our mind. And when this is over, we're going to be so much smarter, right? All right, so if you're not interested in being seen, you can certainly up in the corner of your screen, get rid of your profile there so you're not being seen, and everyone at this point is going to be muted. So take it away, Pat, and we're looking forward to hearing what you have to say.
All right, as Lisa said, hi everybody. We're going to be talking about unleashing the power of your mind to alleviate some stress. Okay, what am I going to cover today? Right, we're going to have some fun today, right? But what I'm going to cover is the two different kinds of stressors, and I'm going to explain a little bit about how our minds work so that you can understand why the tools I'm going to give you are so effective. And then we're going to talk about, and we're going to learn different tips and skills, and we're going to put you through a lot of exercises today, okay? So let's start. There are two kinds of stressors, all right? One is a positive stressor, and one is a negative stressor. Oh, okay, a little bit too soon there. All right, let's talk about a positive stressor first, okay? Positive stressor is something that you have control on. For instance, if I'm late, I have a very important appointment to make, and I'm late, and I'm running late, all right? And I'm really excited because I have to get dressed, and I have to get out of the house, and the phone is ringing, and I get in my car, and I'm driving really quick, and I'm very annoyed. I'm stressed because I'm late. Now, that is a positive stressor because if I set the alarm a little earlier, if I started getting dressed a little earlier, if I didn't answer the phone when it was ringing, I wouldn't have this issue. So that's a positive stressor because I have control on that, okay? What is a negative stressor? Okay, now I'm ready for that slide, Maureen. There you go. These are negative stressors, all right? One, the election. We have absolutely no control, which is a negative stressor. We have no control on the stressor, no control at all. We still don't know who our president is. We're in the crossroads for the future, and our country is very divided. The COVID virus, again, we have no control whatsoever on this virus. We can't see it. We know it's there. We can't hear it, but we know it can make us terribly sick and even death. The only truly safe place is in the home, cooped up with no friends, no family, nobody in, nobody out. You know you're 100% safe. Any other place you go or do, maybe not as safe as home. We have no control on that either, right? Lockdowns, that's up to our politicians to decide. We have no control on that. And I think right now what might be foremost in people's minds, the holidays are coming. And again, we didn't decide now should be November and December, so holidays are coming. We have no control on that, right? None. But I want you to take a look at the reactions, right? All of these things, and you can read those reactions to these things. We have no control on the stressor, right? Now, maybe go to the next slide for a second, please, Maureen. All right, these are coping mechanisms to alleviate stress. Now, all of those reactions that you saw on the other side of that, the first chart, right? These do damage to our bodies, all right? Stress does an awful lot of bad things to us, all right? It affects our digestion, it affects our heart rate, our immune system, it does everything. So a lot of these things that you're seeing now, and most of you already know these things, so we're not going to spend any time on them. But the whole purpose of these things, coping mechanisms to alleviate stress, is to kind of manage the negative effects of stress on your body. Right? Let's go back to the other slide again, all right? To the next slide, that's it. Let's take a look at these reactions, all right? Take a look at them. Do they sound familiar to you, or can you relate to them? These are just some of the feelings or thoughts that we have from things that we have absolutely no control on, right? Now, here's where the interesting part is. No control on the negative stressors. We do have control on our reactions. As a matter of fact, we are the only ones who have control on our reactions. We have the power. Maybe you don't know how to untap and unleash that power, tap into it, but we have the power, and that's what we're going to talk about today, the power that we have to change things. All right, let's talk a little bit about how our minds work. Next slide, please, Maureen. No, next slide. That's the one. This is a funny drawing that I made, but I think you can understand what I'm talking about. See the top part of that where it says CS? That's our conscious mind. And see how small that is? This is a picture of our mind, all right? Picture of our mind. Our conscious mind is kind of small. What's in our conscious mind? Conscious mind is anything you can bring up when somebody asks you, what did you have for breakfast this morning? What did you do last January? Where did you go on your last vacation? What's the name of the pet you had when you were in your home state, right? We can bring these up. We don't have to worry about it. They're there. They're there. They're in our minds, and we can recall them at will, right? Now, take a look at the other part of that slide. That's UCS, and that stands for your unconscious, right? Unconscious. Now, I'm going to tell you what's in our unconscious, and I'm going to say it very slowly because I really want you to take it in, all right? In our unconscious is everything you have ever seen with your eyes, everything you have ever heard with your ears, smelled with your nose, tasted with your mouth, felt with your hands or your feelings since you were in your mother's womb. Wow, that's an awful lot of stuff that's in that unconscious. Did everybody get that? All right. Everything we've ever seen, heard, smelled, tasted, touched, felt, thought is in there before we were even born. That's a tremendous amount. Now, if we walked around with all of that stuff in our conscious mind, we couldn't function. It's just too much to handle. Nobody could handle that. We'd be sitting in a corner sucking our thumbs because we couldn't function at all. So our minds are very good to us. They always take care of us. See that little line there that says defenses? Well, what that means is that's our mind's way of protecting us. And there's only one purpose on these particular defenses. It's to keep what's in the unconscious, to keep it there, to make sure it doesn't come up into our conscious mind. We want to keep it all there. We're not going to talk about defenses there. You're not even aware when you're doing them or when you're having them. They just come automatically to you because that's how our minds work, right? All right, let's take that slide off completely. And I'm just going to talk for a while. Oh, now I can see your faces. Okay, that's good. All right, so our unconscious mind, we don't know what's in there. We don't have a clue what's in there because our minds protect us from that. But there's a lot in there, an awful lot. And again, healthy minds protect us because we have defenses. Now, I know all of you are familiar with a computer because you're all on Zoom. So I'm going to use a little, I hope you're not computer people. I'm not. But our unconscious mind is very much like a computer program, right? I'm not terrific on the computer. And the only thing I know about computers is I think there's a little program in there. It might be a little tiny thing, and it's in there. I don't know who put it there. I don't know what's in there. I don't know anything about it, right? All I do know is if I have a keyboard and I push the letter A, bingo, A comes up on my screen. Magic. Where did that A come from? That little tiny program, right? I didn't know it was in there, but if I press a Y, bingo, a Y comes up on my screen, like magic. Present tense, present tense. It's in there, it's in that program. That's a lot like our unconscious is, right? Our unconscious is like that. Everything is in there. And when we touch a key, and the key is a circumstance, maybe it's the election, maybe it's the virus, maybe it's being cooped up at home. All that is somebody touched a key that we had no control. Key was touched and bingo, what comes up? What's in our unconscious, right? So the circumstance is really the trigger that brings something out of our unconscious. And the external circumstances, other people in our lives who can cause us a lot of stress, our own thoughts, our own feelings. These are all triggers. These are triggers like the keys on the computer that triggers something in our unconscious. Let's give an example of that, right? Supposing a person grows up in a family, it's very busy and very chaotic, and there's lots of kids and lots of siblings, and they all bring their friends home, and mom and dad is there, and there's lots of activities, and everything's going around the house. It's always, busy house, right? So all that stuff is in this kid's unconscious mind, all right? We don't know how they took that, but it's all in that unconscious mind. So supposing a circumstance comes up, could be stressful circumstance, all right? Company's coming in an hour. And bingo, they know they still have to get dressed and put their makeup on, but the phone starts to ring and the doorbell rings because our neighbor's there crying at the door because her pet died, and I'm still not dressed, and oh my goodness, I still have to make something for my company to eat. Stressful, correct? Stressful, could be very stressful, right? Now, a person who grew up in that very busy household, how might they react? What would those circumstances, they have no control on, what would those circumstances trigger in their unconscious mind? It might very well say, nothing new, I'm used to this, no stress at all, I'm perfectly calm, no problem. They're not saying, oh, this is just like I experienced at home. No, it's just a normal reaction, because all of those circumstances triggered their unconscious, they were very comfortable with. Now, you take another person who grew up in exactly the same family, might have the exact opposite experience of that. Those same situation might bring, oh my God, I can't tolerate this. Oh, it's just too much to handle. I'm so upset. I'm so afraid. I'm anxious. I'm overwhelmed. I'm beside myself. I can't do it. I can't function. Bingo. So again, we don't know what's in that unconscious, but we know the circumstance that we have no control on triggered whatever's in there, all right? So how does this all apply to what we're going to talk about today? Well, let's just repeat. In our unconscious, this is all past stuff, not going on present. Past stuff is in our unconscious. Since we're in our mother's womb, past stuff. But just like a computer, when I push the keyboard, bingo, comes up in present tense. So when our unconscious gets triggered, bingo, we have thoughts, feelings, experiences that can be very stressful or can be very calming, whichever it triggers, right? Now, many times, what most people think is that the circumstance is the cause of our stress. Not so. Circumstance is not the cause. So it doesn't matter if we have control on it or not, right? Because we have control. And what the control is we've got the keyboard. We've got a keyboard, all right? And just like those keys, can you imagine how many keys are on that keyboard and how many letters and how many combinations we can make on our keyboard that makes things pop up on our screen? Well, we have an awful lot more thoughts and feelings than their keys on the keyboard. So this is our power. We have the power to hit a different key on our keyboard of life, all right? Change our thoughts, our reactions change. Change our feelings, bingo. It triggers something different in our unconscious mind. That is where our power is, right? All right, so if this is where our power is, what do we do about it? How do we change the keys? How do we hit a different key on our keyboard, right? I'm going to go through 3 things that are really simple, easy. You probably know them already, so I'm going to take them quick. All right. First thing, if something has triggered, something outside has triggered your unconscious to make stress, all right? Stress, right? The first thing you got to do is calm it, right? One of the really nice ways to do this, and it's easy, and most of the time it works well, if you concentrate on your breathing. If you breathe slowly in through your mouth, in through your nose, and then blow out with your mouth. Let's try that now. Let's take a deep breath inside, slow, and blow out through our mouth. Okay. What does that do? It takes the trigger. Now we're concentrating on our breathing, what our lungs feel like. We've changed the trigger, so something else is going to come from our unconscious, and it's not going to be all those stressful feelings, all right? So that's one thing. Basically, when we're blowing out, we imagine let the tension out, right? It can be very effective, quick and easy, right? The other thing is, I've just explained that when circumstances or other people, right, trigger something inside of us, it's not the circumstance that's causing our reaction. It's my unconscious that's triggered that causes my reaction, right? Now, everybody else is the same way. So for instance, if you're with a person and that person is just being nasty to you or being, I don't know, maybe they don't like you, right? You haven't done anything. You don't know why they don't like you. They're just not nice to you, right? Well, maybe we are a trigger for them. Maybe it's the color of my hair. Maybe it's the tone of my voice. Maybe it's the words I'm using. But something triggers something in their unconscious that says, I don't like that person. Not me. I haven't done anything. But I could be a trigger for somebody else. Bottom line is, that's their issue. They're upset. Their unconscious has been triggered. I can't do anything about that. And it's not my fault. So I can let that go. All right? Because just as I am responsible for my own reactions, everybody else is responsible for their reactions too. Right? Don't take things personally. Second hint. Third thing, find something you can be grateful for. And it's always good to think of our senses, right? Our sight, our sound, what we hear, what we smell, what we taste, what we can feel inside of us, right? So when we're concentrating on those things, for instance, I'm looking out at you and I see a lot of people have windows, right? And I can see the sun is shining there. So if I look out my window and I say, oh, the sun is shining, I can see. I'm so happy so many people, I wear glasses, but I can still see. Isn't that wonderful? I can see. What do I hear? Right now I hear the refrigerator humming away because it's working. And I hear the air conditioner just being nice and quiet. Maybe if I had a window open, I could hear the birds singing, right? What do I smell? Do I smell the remnants of my supper from last night? Do I smell fresh flowers because my husband just bought them for me? Right? We concentrate on what are we grateful for? What are we grateful for? How does that help us? Again, let's go back to the keys on our computer, right? If we push an A comes up. If we don't want the A up there, we can push a B and the B is going to come up. So when we start to think about things that we're grateful for, we're just pressing a different key on that computer. And it's triggering something different in our unconscious. And when we're thinking of the things that we're grateful for, what it's bringing us is thankfulness, peace, wonder, gratitude, right? We just change the trigger. And again, that's our power. That's the power of our mind. Now we're going to do some exercises, right? We're going to have some fun doing some exercises. I'd like you to think of a person who creates stress for you. Right? Could be a man or a woman. Right? And I want you to imagine what they do that makes you crazy. Maybe it's a neighbor up the block who's very, very grumpy. Every time you walk your dog, you're a grumpy person, all right? Maybe it's your husband or your wife, who's gets annoyed, or maybe they're couch potato and you want them to do something, so that really annoys you. Maybe it's somebody in the store that really got angry with you, all right, over no reason at all. Maybe it's your husband or wife who's angry with you and they give you that look, and something about their posture and so forth. It's just, they can create stress for you, right? So I want you to think of a person like that. Does everybody have a person like that in their lives? Shake your head if you do. Can you think of a person? Okay. All right. Now I'm going to look. I'd like, Maureen, could you give me the next slide, please? All right. These are my stick figures. You can tell I am no artist. All right. Now, if a person like this on the right side is doing something, whether they're angry or upset, or maybe that's hurtful, all right? And anything they say, anything that you see them doing, whether it's a look or expression or their posture, maybe the words that they're saying, it comes into you. Maybe it hurts. Maybe it's annoying. Maybe it makes you angry. Maybe it hurts like heck, right? But it comes into you. All right, let's go to the next slide, Maureen, please. See the same thing? This is when I'm going to put you through a little exercise. That little thing is a plexiglass shield, all right? And notice nothing gets through plexiglass shield. So the same words and everything can come out of people's mouths, the same looks, they look the same, they act the same, they're standing the same, but it can't get in. So let's go to, all right, take that slide off and we're going to just talk for a little while. Okay, let's get back. I'd like you to close your eyes for a minute, all right? Close your eyes and just relax. I want you to see that person who is annoying or hurtful or angry or fearful, whatever. See that person in front of you and know how whatever they say, do, look like, it gets into you and it bothers you. Now I'd like you to put a plexiglass, plexiglass is a real thick piece of plastic, and put it up to cover from your head, all the way top of your head, all the way down to your lap if you're sitting down. Put that plexiglass shield up there. Now, that person is on the other side of that shield. And I want you to imagine them doing everything that either is annoying to you, hurtful to you, fearful to you, whatever it is. And as their words come out, I want you to hear them splatter on that plastic and fall to the ground. Right? I want you to notice what they look like. And it looks scary or it looks really annoying, all right? And I want you to see that look come and go onto the ground. I want you to hear the words that they're saying that might be very hurtful to you, very hurtful, and it feels like an arrow coming right in your heart. And I want you to see those arrows, that the words they're spoken are like arrows, coming at you and hitting that plexiglass shield in front of you, breaking in two and falling on the ground. You do that? You do that? Okay, come on back to me. Did that make a difference? Yeah, it did. All right. All right. And the more you practice that, the more difference it makes. All right. Now, what do? We change the trigger. We hit a different key on our keyboard of life. We made it a little different, protected ourselves, which means we changed we triggered something different from our unconscious. All right. Let's go to the next slide, please, Maureen. This is a real funny one. Again, you can tell I am no artist, right? This is going to be the same scenario, all right? Person who's annoying or frightening or scary or grumpy or miserable or whatever. Maybe it's somebody you're caring for that's really grumpy right now because they're sick and they're awful and they don't know what to do with themselves. Right? So this is what I'm going to have you do. All right, let's get rid of the slide and we're going to walk your way through that. Take that slide off. Okay, back again. Right, now, I want you to see that same person again, all right? Let's close our eyes again, and I want you to see the same person that we saw before, all right? I'm closing my eyes too. See that person in front of you, doing either annoying or scary or looking terrible or whatever it is that's bothering to you. See that person. Now, in your mind's eye, I want you to imagine that same person being 2 feet tall. So they're not 5'8" or 6'2" or 6'5". They are now 2 feet tall. They look the same. They're saying the same words, but they're only 2 feet tall. Something else, I'd like you to put a pair of Mickey Mouse ears on their head. A little 2 foot tall person that's so annoying or frightening or scary or whatever. Put a pair of Mickey Mouse ears on them. And because they're little and they have Mickey Mouse ears on, the words that are coming out of their mouth are very, very squeaky because they're little tiny people. Okay. Notice the difference it makes whenever you see a person like that. And you can do that with your mind. As you're talking to them, you can see them, you can relate to them, you can answer them. But they're only 2 feet tall with Mickey Mouse ears on and a squeaky voice. Okay, come on back to me. I see some smiles. Made a difference, didn't it? See? You have the power in your mind to change things. And once you change things in your mind, you've just triggered a different part of your unconscious. A part that may be funny, a part that's amusing, instead of a part that's annoying or hurtful. Right? So that's another exercise. Now, you can do that with the situation too. we've talked about doing it with a person, but we can do that with the situation, right? And what we can do, because we have the power in our mind to do these things. If you see a situation in front of you that maybe the holidays are coming, maybe that's it, maybe something else, the situation is upsetting to you, right? In your mind, you can imagine it going very far away. See the same situation, just pushing it far away. And as you push it far away from you in your mind, any sounds that were associated become quieter because they're farther away. They're smaller, right? Maybe you can make the colors very soft and muted. Maybe you can make the whole picture very blurry. When you can put it there. Now, that circumstance does not have the same trigger for your unconscious as it did when it was big and above you and scary and awful. We have the power in our mind to do that. Right. I want to go through another exercise. It's called a cleansing exercise. Maureen, can I have another slide, please? There we go. And this is what we're going to imagine, all right? First, I'd like you to imagine, you know the faucets you have on your kitchen sink or on your bathroom sink, you have little faucets that you can turn. I'd like you to imagine in your mind that you have faucets on your 10 toes. I want you to open up those faucets. Right? And then we're going to go through seeing the air above us as a golden healing light. I didn't have gold crayon, I only had yellow, so we're going to have to do that. And I'm going to walk you through having that go through. So, all right, let's take off the slide. That's just to give you a hint of what I'm going to do. Thank you, Maureen. All right, again, let's close our eyes because this is called a cleansing exercise, right? And you may have done this before in yoga or some other place. I don't know. It's not my original thinking here. All right, let's close our eyes again. Now, I want you to say if anything is crossed, uncross it. So if your arms are crossed, if your legs are crossed, uncross it and put your feet flat on the ground. And imagine you've got 10 faucets on your toes and they're all open, right? Now I'd like you to imagine the air all around the room that you're in, above your head. And it starts to circle around. It's getting a little faster, but it's getting all the air above you circling. And as you notice, as it's circling around, it's turning a beautiful golden color. And the more it circles, the more light it becomes, like a bright light, a bright, golden, beautiful light. Now I'd like you to imagine that air that's circulating above your head, going out through your ceiling, up to the sky. And see all the air around your home circling like this. And it's getting more golden in color. And the light is becoming brighter. And it just looks so pretty. Now let that air circulate and go all the way up to the heavens. So there's an infinite supply of this golden light. And you see that moving now. Now I'd like you to imagine that light coming into your scalp. Know how it comes down at the bottom like a cone? Have it go into your scalp and notice when it gets there, that golden light feels very warm. Feels very warm, not uncomfortably warm, just warm, melty warm. I want you to feel that golden healing light go through the back of your eyes and go into your cheeks. Now, as it's going, you feel the warmth and it's melting everything that doesn't belong and pushing it down. And it's left you with a little warm, beautiful light inside of you. Notice it's filling up every single space that it touches. By now it's going into your mouth and your jaw. It's going down your neck. Oh, feel that golden healing warmth going down into your shoulders and down your arms. Feel that beautiful, warm, healing, golden light going into your lungs, filling up your lungs. Oh, it feels so warm, so inviting, like just melting everything that doesn't belong and pushing it down. It's now down into your stomach, into your abdomen, into your buttocks. You feel it going down your thighs. And you happen to notice as you feel it going down into your thighs that you see some things are flowing out the faucets of your toes. All the stuff that didn't belong inside of you, all of your stress, all of your negative thinking, all of your ills or pains doesn't belong. It's just flowing out through the faucets in your toes. And that light, golden healing light, is still coming inside. It's down by your knees now, and your calves, and your feet. And now you look, and it's no longer things that doesn't belong coming out the faucets of your toes, but it's that golden healing light coming out. And there's a oneness with nature that's still above your head, flowing through you, and it's going out and settling in the earth. And you are all connected. You are all one. Everything is cleansed. Okay, open your eyes and come back to me. How was that? Was that nice? Did that feel good? That get rid of a lot of stuff? Okay. Now, sometimes we can use this when we're so crazed with stressful feelings that have been triggered by an outside circumstance or another person, all right? Sometimes we just have to clear that trigger, right? We don't want that trigger to get stuck in us. So this is a wonderful exercise for us to use to kind of clear it, right? Now we're going to go into the last thing I'm going to teach you. It's going to take a little while, right? But this is the best of all. Now, I'm a little cautious about this because every time I've done this, it's called an outcome frame. And it's basically from a neurolinguistic training that I've had, okay? And this outcome frame is extremely effective. I've worked with persons in my private practice, all right? And I've prepared people with the outcome that they wanted to pass the bar exam, to pass the social work exams, to what else? I've worked with clients who were going to be witnesses in court and they were really nervous and they didn't know what they were going to do with it. I've worked with people who are fearful of going to the dentist or the doctor or something, and it kind of relaxes. And it always works. It always works. But when I work it, I'm always with one person. So I'm hoping that it works this way, all right? Because I can't pay attention to each one, but we're going to get through this, all right? It's called an outcome frame, all right? Now, have you noticed that whenever a situation or a circumstance happens, like we're living through now, like the election, like the COVID, like the stuff in the house, like the holidays are coming or anything like that. And we're going to concentrate on the holidays. When you think of the holidays, I know what I do. All right, we've been stuck here with this COVID for a long time. And I'm saying now, November, Thanksgiving is coming, Hanukkah is coming, Christmas is coming, Kwanzaa is coming. Oh, it's just going to be awful. This is going to be unlike, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Right? So whenever you put something out in the future that you have stress about, it's always negative, right? You always put out those worrisome things. Like, I don't know, I'm going to be miserable. It's going to be so hard. I won't see my family. I won't see people. How are we going to celebrate? It won't be a celebration, but all of those, they're all negative stuff. Yuck, right? What I'm doing when I put negative stuff out in the future, I'm writing a new program in my unconscious. I'm putting that in the program. So when the trigger of Thanksgiving comes, bingo, my mind knows exactly what to trigger, and it's misery, okay, misery. So we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. We don't want to think about negatives that's coming, right? Because our thoughts, remember, are triggers for our unconscious. So we're going to come up with an outcome frame. And the outcome frame, and we're going to put it in the context of the holidays are coming, right? Holidays are coming. By holidays, I mean Thanksgiving, either Hanukkah, Christmas, or Kwanzaa. Holidays are coming, right? And we want to put positive triggers for those wonderful holidays. We want to program good things for those holidays that are coming. So instead of thinking about what I'm afraid is going to happen, I'd like you to think about who you want to be for those holidays. I'm not asking you to think what you want to do or what you want other people to do or what you want the situation to be or the circumstance. I'm asking you, regardless of what happens that you have no control on, how do you want to be for the holidays? I'm going to give you an example. How do I want to be? If I think about the holidays, I'm pretty miserable and upset, all right? I don't think I've ever had a Christmas or Thanksgiving without my family, all right? So I get upset. Now, how do I want to be? I want to be peaceful. I want to be peaceful and serene. I want to be faith-filled too. I want to think at Christmas. I want to think at Thanksgiving, all the things that I am grateful for. And I have much to be grateful for. At Christmas, I want to think about the wonder of a baby being born in a stable and the gratitude and the joy I feel for that to bring me peace. That's what I want to be. I want to be peaceful. And no matter what happens, I want to be peaceful. All right. Maureen, can we have our next slide, please? I just wrote down a couple of little things. I'd like you, and if you know what you want to be, that's great. You think of that word. If you don't know exactly who you want to be on those holidays, look through this list and come up with one. Come up with one that you want to be, regardless of what circumstances come up that you have no control on. What do you want to be? So I'm going to pick one. Now, you may want to be more than one, and that's fine, and you can work on that at home. But right now, we're only going to work on one thing. So does everybody have one thing? Okay. All right, Maureen, let's get rid of that slide, okay? Thank you, Maureen. Everybody has one thing that they want to be. Okay. And we're going to make an outcome frame, all right? So we're going to make a picture. Now, we who are this age who live in the villages or thereabouts, we remember those little slides that we had a projector, you put the slide in and it projected a picture on the wall of your vacations or your kids or something like that. Well, I want you to think that right now you are a projector, right? You're a projector. So whatever you envision, you can project out, right? I also want you to think that you are going to be a director. You're going to direct an actress to play a part or an actor to play a part, right? That's your job. That's how we're going to do this outcome frame. Okay, now, you also want to teach you something. We're going to talk about this as we go through it. I want you to think on your left hand, your thumb and your index finger, hold them together. Okay, and we're going to call that an anchor. I'll call that an anchor. All right. You might want to turn your chair around because what I'd like you to do, remember, you're going to be a projector. I'd like you to look at a wall, all right? A plain wall. Maybe you want to look at, I see some people have blinds, the windows and the blinds are closed. So you maybe turn around and look at the blinds, and the blinds could be your empty wall, or maybe a closet or an empty wall that you have nearby, right? But I don't want you looking at everybody else, right? So you're going to turn your chair around. I want you to find some place where you can be a projector, where you can project pictures on a wall. Oh, that's so terrific. Okay. All right. Now, what are we going to project? We're going to project you on that wall, the way you want to be for the holidays. How are we going to do that? Well, think about how you want to be. You have that word. My word was peaceful. What is, I don't know what your word is. So every time I say the word, you have to think in your mind and say the word in your mind, the word that you have chosen, all right? So you're going to make a movie of you over there on the wall. You know what you look like. You look in the mirror all the time. You know what you're wearing. Put that on. Right? When you see you over there, I want you to see you over there with the quality or the characteristic that you want to be for the holidays. Now, you might have to direct it, depending on what you want. You might have to say, I see your forehead has squiggly lines on it. Loosen up your forehead. And your jaw looks a little tight. And you look really kind of scrunchy. And I think in order to show me that you're feeling and being what I'm wanting you to be, you have to stand up straighter. Maybe the opposite. Maybe you have to slunch a little, right? But you want her to really be and act, you over there, exactly the way you want to be on holidays with the word that you have chosen, right? Is there anything else you have to direct her on? The you over there. Is there anything else that she has to change or do differently to get it the way you want her to be over there? Okay. When you got that, I want you to kind of just sit back and I want you to think about, take that word that you've chosen and let it be your guide and lead you in your past. Could be a recent past, it could be a faraway past. Lead you to when you were and felt and thought that word. When in your past were you that word? Whether it be peaceful or strong or determined or happy or funny, whatever it was. I'm not looking for a generalized time. I'm looking for a very specific incident when you were the word that you want to be. When you find that specific incident, I want you to jump inside yourself and be there all over again. I want you to see the circumstances that were there. I want you to see the people that were there. I want you to hear the sounds that were there. Smell the smells that were there. Notice your feeling. Notice how your posture was. Were you standing erect? Were you sitting down? Were you slouched over? Were you comfortable? Were you whatever? Get your posture in the same position as you were then. Right? Feel it strongly. Say the word over and over to yourself and get into that quality. Relive it. And when you're feeling it and you're right there, anchor it. Put your thumb and index finger together and say your word 3 times. Okay. All right. Now, open your eyes, look around the room quick. Stay in the same position you're in, but look around the room just to get you just a little distraction. All right. All right. Go back to where you were. Go back, sit down, close your eyes again. And once again, I want you to use that word to lead you and guide you into your past until you find another instant in time when you were that quality, when you felt and thought and were that exact quality. And again, see the situation you were in, see the people that were there, if any, hear the sounds of their voices or other sounds, any smells. Notice how you felt, what you were thinking, how you were relating to everything that was going on. You're going to relive that moment in time. And I want you, when you're feeling it strongly, put your thumb and index finger together and anchor it. Hold that anchor and say that quality 3 times. Okay. Stay just where you are. Look over at the wall at the you over there. The you over there was exhibiting that quality, but you want to give her more. So you've just had this wonderful experience of you know exactly what that quality is. So while you're holding your anchor, give it to the you over there on the wall. Pass it to her with a light beam, pass it to her any way you want. But I want you to see it filling her up completely. And notice if she has to change the you on the wall. Does she have to change her posture or her expression or her tone, anything at all? But let her feel that. Just become that quality. Good. All right, you can open your eyes and take a look at her. Just keep looking at her. She's got that quality, right? Now I want you to put Thanksgiving in front of her. She's right there on Thanksgiving Day. The you on the wall is right there on Thanksgiving Day. She's waking up. She knows it's Thanksgiving. She probably has plans. See the day go by. How is she behaving, relating to people with that quality that you want? Come dinner time, whether you're going to cook or go out or not, whether you're going to sit and watch television, listen to music, just see her go through that day of Thanksgiving with that quality. Now fast forward to either Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, whichever one you celebrate. And again, have the you over there wake up that morning and know that this is a special day. And she has that quality. Notice everything that's around her. How does she walk through that day? Notice how she conducts herself with this quality throughout the whole day. Okay. Now you've seen how she goes through that. Now, if you go to the store and you see a dress that you'd like to buy for a special occasion, it's very expensive and you don't want to take it home unless you try it on, right? So we're going to try you on. What I'd like you to do now is look at the you over there on the wall. And I want you, while you're sitting where you are, I want you to jump into her sitting in the wall. Jump into the you on the wall. So you're feeling everything. And I want you to live that day, Thanksgiving Day, just like she did, with the quality that you want. Waking up, the day is going through, you know it's Thanksgiving. And you have that quality all day long. Fast forward to the holiday you celebrate, Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa. Wake up in the morning and you know this is a special holiday. Go through the motions, go the same thing that she did. Whichever comes up, whether people or no people, phone calls or not, computers or not, TV or not, music or not, whatever. Gonna go through that day with that quality. Okay, very good. You can turn your chair around and come back to me so I can see your faces now. Okay. Now, again, if I were one-on-one with you, I could walk you through this more carefully, all right? And I would be speaking the word that you have chosen. So that's up to you. But basically what you have just done is you have programmed how you want to be on those holidays. You've written the program for you. And I'm telling you, this is such an absolutely 100% effective. I can tell you stories that are amazing to me on how effective it can be. What do you need to do? All right. You need to practice that. Now, you may find that maybe that one quality that you've chosen, maybe you want to have more qualities than just that one, right? Maybe you want to be peaceful and faith-filled and happy too, right? You can go through that same exact process with each quality that you want to be, right? The only thing that's different is you have to change the anchor. So instead of holding your thumb and index finger, you're going to hold your thumb and middle finger, your thumb and ring finger, your thumb and pinky. With each different quality, you need a different anchor. And I have 2 handouts that you will be receiving when we finish this that will go through how you can do that on your own. Right? But if you practice this, I guarantee you 100%, that's who you will be come those holidays, right? I'm going to give you an example. I helped prepare somebody to take the social work exam for licensure. And she was so nervous. She hates taking tests, and she was just absolutely a mess. She knew her stuff, but she said, when I go to take that test, I'm just going to lose it because I'm so nervous taking this test. I can't do it. So we worked with her on this frame, all right? She goes to take the test. She comes back the next day and she calls me up. She says, you wouldn't believe what happened. Of course, we programmed her to be calm and relaxed and at ease and be really clear with everything in her mind was going to just flow out for the test. All right. That's what we programmed for her outcome. Well, she comes back the next day and she calls me up. And she said, you wouldn't believe what happened. She said, I was all set to go. I was feeling fine, she said, and I got in my car. I'm driving down to New York City, and she said there was a big accident. And she said there was traffic galore, and I thought I was going to be late, that I couldn't take the test, and I had to find a different way to get there. She said and I didn't know where I was going, and I was hoping and praying I'd get there, and it was the most awful thing in my life. And she said, but when I sat down to take my test, I was so relaxed. She said, I couldn't believe it. She said, I was so relaxed and everything just happened. It's like none of that mattered at all. All right. And I've always gotten those kind of results from this outcome frame. All right.
So here is the information from TLC. Do you want to tell us a little bit about?
I'll tell for anybody who's not familiar with TLC. TLC stands for Transition Life Consultants. And there is about 20 of us. We're all mental health professionals. And what we do is support groups. We do trainings. We do educational presentations like this one. And we do one-on-one counseling. All of our professional services are for free, but we really do appreciate donations just to cover our own expenses. We have our website, which I really ask you to take down. This is our website down here and my phone number. And if you want to donate, and it doesn't matter what the donation is, anything that you want to donate will help us cover our expenses. And that you can do by our website.